Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Crime this hour on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of Philo Vance starring Jackson Beck. This episode, entitled The Argyle Murder Case, was originally broadcast 73 years ago, June 27th, 1950.
Hey, Danny.
You'll never be a sailor, Joey.
Why not?
Sailors don't say hey, they say ahoy.
Okay, so I ain't a sailor. I'm just a deckhand on a ferryboat anyhow, so who cares if I ain't nautical?
What's the matter, Joey? Lonesome down there on deck?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
How can I be lonesome? It's 3 a.m. There ain't a soul on board except you and me and the captain, but why should I be lonesome? I got life preservers to talk to. There's a couple of chains that ain't doing nothing either. I'm having a wonderful day. Hey.
What's the matter, Joey?
Danny, quick. Come down here on deck fast.
Okay, I'm coming.
How do you like that?
You sound like you just stumbled on $1 million. What's the matter?
Holy mackerel. That's a body, Danny. A dead body. I looked when you was coming down.
Guess you wanted something to happen on this run, Joey. But you certainly didn't want this.
Oh, no more than that guy wanted it. Hey, I wonder how it got here.
When's the last time you passed this part of deck?
Why, I ain't been here at all tonight till just now.
And it could have been for hours.
What do you see, Danny? What?
Nothing we didn't know. He's dead. Probably been shot.
Oh.
We got a report to give the cops when we pull in.
Hey, he's wearing a double-breasted blue suit. That's brand new, I'd say, wouldn't you, Danny?
Yeah. And his black shoes are new, too.
And that shirt and that blue tie. All brand new.
Yeah.
Now, what would anybody expecting to be killed wear a brand new outfit for?
Maybe he wasn't expecting to be killed.
Maybe.
Hey, take a look at those socks he's wearing.
What's the matter, Danny? The stiff got you so you forgot your talk? You said, hey. You meant ahoy, didn't you?
And what's the difference? His corpse is wearing brown woolen socks. Argyle socks. The kind your wife knits for you if she can knit, which mine can't.
So what? So he's wearing brown Argyle socks.
So you don't wear brown socks with a blue suit?
So he wasn't a dude. What do you figure?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Not figuring anything. That's for the homicide department. The district attorney and the DA's friend, Philo Vance, to do.
Seen everything you wanted to in the morgue, haven't we, Vance?
Yes, I suppose so, Markham. Let's get out of here.
All right. You've examined the body and the man's clothes, Vance. What do you make of the situation?
I'm not sure yet. I believe the man was killed by somebody who thought we could never identify his victim, though.
In other words, the suit, the shoes, the tie, and the shirt were purchased so that the original clothes belonging to the dead man could be destroyed.
And identification by that means made impossible.
Now, what about the socks, Vance?
Could be the murderer forgot to buy new socks and that the ones the victim was wearing were his own.
Well, that's fine. That gives us a lot to go on.
Gives us a great deal. For instance, I'll tell you this. The dead man habitually wore tweeds, Scotch grain shoes, woolen ties. And I think I know where to pick up his trail.
Vance, you're making all of this up. Nobody has been reported missing in this town that even remotely resembles the individual you described.
I think the murderer knew nobody would report his victim missing.
Here we go again.
Certainly looks that way, doesn't it?
Let me understand something.
Yes?
You've built the clothes the dead man wore, the tweeds, the woolen tie, merely from the fact that he wore woolen socks. Now, let me point out
But I
that...
didn't mark him.
You didn't?
No. Did you notice the tie clasp that was on the blue silk tie he was wearing?
Yes. And except for the fact that it was about to slip off the tie, I noticed nothing unusual about it.
It's an ordinary clip. Could be bought in any of 1,000 stores. But it was about to slip off the silk tie. Now, what does that mean?
That the victim almost lost his tie clasp. How do I know what it means?
I think it means that the dead man usually wore woolen ties. They spread the clasp. Consequently, it couldn't hold a silk tie securely.
Oh, I see. I'll grant you a combination of woolen tie and woolen socks would mean tweeds and possibly Scotch grain shoes. But What's your clue to his identity?
Did you look on the inside of the socks, Markham?
No.
I did. And I found something on the inside of the socks that will take me directly to the inside of this case.
All right, Eddie. Hold it. Yeah, it's tough work, isn't it?
Oh, they never taught me this in dramatic school, Mr. Starr. Is it okay if I put this sword down? It's heavy.
You can rest for a while, if that's what you mean.
That's what I mean, all right. You know, it's just my luck that after I knock myself out learning this part, John Stanley will come back.
That's possible, but I doubt it.
Well, you never know.
He's always been threatening to leave show business, and this time he's done it, I guess.
I hope so. All this rehearsing for nothing if he hasn't.
You ready to start again?
Yeah, sure.
Good.
But why couldn't we have been putting on something by Noel Coward instead of this big Roman tragedy?
Huh?
Then all I'd have to learn would be to drink tea.
Oh.
This sword business just isn't for me. All right, I'm ready, Mr. Starr.
All right, here we go. Ousted men, spoiler of my home, may the gods guide hold my sword.
Call on your gods, fool. It is on my arm that you...
Oh, go on, Eddie. What's the matter? Do you forget your lines?
What's all that noise out at the stage door, I wonder?
Well, I'll soon find out.
Quite a racket.
Mike! Where is that doorman?
Mr. Starr, I'm sorry indeed I am, but this gentleman insists on...
On seeing the owner of this company. Would that be you, Mr. Starr?
That is right.
May I talk to you alone? I'm Philo Vance.
Yes, I guess so, Vance. Okay, Eddie, relax somewhere. Mike, go on back to the door.
Yes, sir, Mr. Starr.
Well, Vance, I've heard about you, of course.
That's very flattering.
What do you want with me? Thinking of going in for dramatics?
Hardly. What male member of your company is missing?
Missing?
You know, not here anymore, can't be found. Missing.
Oh, missing.
Yes.
Oh. Well, that would be John Stanley. I imagine he quit show business. Always said he wanted to.
Tall man, well-built, chestnut hair, wore tweed suits.
Yes, that would be Stanley.
He's been murdered.
You don't say.
I could have sworn I did.
Is that the man found on the ferryboat, dressed in brand new clothes?
Yes. It hasn't been in the newspapers, Mr. Starr.
Hasn't it?
No.
But I must have heard it on the radio. What made you think he might belong to this company, Vance? In other words, what brought you here?
I'll keep that to myself. In other words, mind your own business.
I'd like to. But you remember, you interrupted me. I was just teaching a young fellow Stanley's lines and the action of the play.
Mr. Starr, somebody went to a great deal of trouble to prevent our identifying the victim.
So?
I have no doubt that Stanley's murderer intended to throw him off the ferry and into the water, but he found he couldn't without being seen.
Go ahead, Vance. I once played a private investigator like you in a play. Only, I did it better.
Oh, of course.
More conviction. Oh, your last speech, for instance. I have no doubt that Stanley's murderer intended to throw him off the ferry. You see what I mean?
Who'd want to?
Oh.
Mr. Starr, the murderer of John Stanley wanted two things. He wanted to make it difficult for anybody to identify the dead man, and he wanted to avoid being caught.
Oh, why tell that to me?
Oh, you might pass the word along.
Huh?
I want the killer to be a little bit nervous. And he will be when he finds out what I know.
All right, Vance. I'll see that people in show business know what a genius you are.
Do that. And Starr.
Yes.
Don't forget what I said.
About spreading the word around?
About wanting the killer to be nervous. Oh, allow me, Mr. Starr. You dropped your cigarette. Coming.
Hello, Mr. Vance. I'm Lila Martin. That's my stage name. May I come in? Thank you. Thank you very much. So kind of you.
Won't you sit down, Miss...
Martin, that's my stage name,
Yeah.
Lila Martin. I'd like to sit here on this red chair, may I?
Well, by
Thank you. Thank you very much. You're wondering who I am and why I'm here, aren't you, Mr.
Well,
Vance?
yes,
Do you mind if I knit? I always knit, even when I talk. I talk much better when I knit. You'd be surprised how much better.
It would take quite a shock to surprise me more than I am
Oh,
at this
you
moment.
mustn't mind me. I'm Lila Martin. That's my
That's your stage name, yes.
Yes.
Why did you come here, Miss Martin?
Come where?
Here to my apartment. I'm Philo Vance.
Oh,
you
how
came
nice.
here, don't you remember?
Oh, so I did. Oh, no, I'm afraid I must be going. Thank you.
Wait a moment.
Don't scream at me, Mr. Vance. I came to do you a favor. You see, I was backstage when you were talking to Roger Starr today at the theater. I'm in the play. I play a Roman handmaiden. John got me the job.
John
Dear
Stanley?
Of course. What other John would get me a job? He liked me, Mr. Vance, and I liked him. Now he's dead.
Yes, he is, and I
Poor
want to
darling.
find out who killed him.
Well, that's what I came up to tell you, but you screamed at me, and now I don't know whether to tell you or not. You see, maybe the next time you won't scream at somebody.
Miss
who comes up
Martin,
to tell
stop
you.
it.
What?
Stop it at once.
My knitting? You want me to stop knitting?
Stop
I
that
can't. I
babbling.
like-
Now, what do you know about John Stanley's death?
I know who killed him.
Who?
First, say you're sorry you screamed at me.
Who killed John Stanley?
You're doing it again. Oh, my, and you look like such a nice man. You have such nice red chairs. Red is my favorite color.
I'll find you an Indian.
Thank
Now, who is it that you think killed him?
Think?
Yes, think.
I don't know. I don't think I know. It was Milton Talbot, of course. Do you know where I could get a red chair
Milton
like
Talbot?
this? It's lovely. I told you what you wanted to know. We were talking about this chair.
Who
I
is
like
Milton
it.
Talbot?
He's the editor of Talbot's Tidbits. It's a newspaper.
What is?
Oh, yes. It prints everything about everybody in show business. What size socks do you wear, Mr. Vance? If you don't scream at me, I'll knit you a pair
I'm
of
sorry
lovely
about
socks.
the screaming. Miss
The
Martin,
loveliest
do you
socks.
know why Talbot killed Stanley?
I don't know everything, Mr. Vance, only that Talbot did it. Because they had a great big quarrel, and Talbot said he was going to do
What
it.
was the quarrel about?
Money? What do men generally quarrel about? Money, you know.
Money
that.
or women?
Of course.
What was the connection between Talbot and... Wait a minute.
Huh?
I know that paper he puts out. He runs a lot of scandal which performers can keep out of print if they take an advertisement in his paper.
You still haven't told me what size socks you wear.
So
How
the
can I
dead
knit
man
you a
and
pair?
Talbot had an argument, eh? Perhaps Mr. Stanley found out something about the blackmailing publisher of Talbot's Tidbits.
You look like about a size 9, I'd say.
Thank you for coming here, Miss Martin.
Oh?
I'm going to see Mr. Talbot. I'm going to find out if he took time out from putting items in his paper to put a bullet in John Stanley's heart.
Talbot speaking.
This is Dolores Williams. You called me?
Oh, yes, I did.
Well, I just wondered.
Let me see now, Miss Williams. You have a film contract, haven't you?
Why, yes. I leave for the coast in a month.
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe?
Let me read you a story I'm publishing in the next issue of my paper.
Well, now,
Dolores Williams has been signed by Acme Studio for the mother role in their new production, So High the Tide.
yes.
Acme believes Miss Williams is the typical American mother and will start an extensive campaign on her when she arrives in California next month.
Oh, that's very nice of you to print that, Mr. Talbot.
The second paragraph is much nicer.
Well, that...
For me.
Oh.
It says, wonder if Acme knows that Miss Williams is really Mrs. Bessie Doyle, who deserted her husband and 3 children when they were infants and is still wanted on a charge of shoplifting in her native city.
How did you find out about that?
It's my business to find out things, Miss Williams. Now, it's very possible my paper would be so crowded by advertisements that the second paragraph doesn't get in.
Well, I haven't any money. And isn't this blackmail?
Is it?
Well, it certainly is.
What have I asked you for?
Oh, nothing. How much is a full-page ad?
I don't know if I want an ad from you.
Oh, please, Mr. Talbot, I'll get the money somewhere. You've got to take it.
Wait a minute, Miss
Please.
Williams. Who are you?
My name is Vance. There was nobody in your outer office, so I came right in. I hope I'm not intruding.
Be right with you.
Certainly.
Miss Williams,
Yes?
I'll call you back. You're sure you want to put an ad in my paper?
You know I do.
I'll be speaking to you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, Vance?
You talk quite loud, Talbot. I heard most of your conversation with that Miss Williams.
People just beg to put ads in my paper. I don't know why.
Oh, yes, you do. If I weren't working on a murder case, I'd blast that racket of yours wide open.
You'd what?
And don't leave papers like that little notation on Roger Starr lying around on your desk. Very revealing.
You're going to blast my racket, huh? Who are you going to get to help you, Snooper?
I don't need any help to break your racket or you.
Oh, people do talk.
I'm glad you did that. It's illegal to start a fight, but this is self-defense and a great pleasure. Oh. Put that in your newspaper, Talbot. While you're at it, why don't you insert an advertisement under Help Wanted? Just those 2 words, Help Wanted. Sign it with your name.
June 27th, 1950, Philo Vance here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. On this final Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on a Tuesday, more of Philo Vance starring Jackson Beck, The Argyle Murder Case, June 27th, 1950, 73 years ago.
This is District Attorney Markham. The Argyle murder case opened with the finding of the body of a man dressed in brand new clothing, with the exception of a pair of Argyle socks. Vance, with only this meager clue to work on, has identified the body and has managed to interview 3 people. Roger Starr, owner and featured performer in the theater company, Lila Martin, an actress, and Milton Talbot, publisher of a theatrical newspaper. Vance is now in my office, and we are discussing...
All right, Markham, I'll tell you.
Thanks, Vance. Inasmuch as you're certain that the Argyle socks John Stanley was wearing put you on the trail of his murderer, I think I'm entitled to know.
It's relatively simple.
For you, you mean?
We'll see what you think after I explain.
All right.
As you know, I'm working on the assumption that Stanley's clothing was taken from him.
Yes.
That he was garbed in brand new clothing by his killer.
The killer intended to throw the body from the ferry, but found he couldn't. So he let it lie on the boat to be found. I go along with that.
Good. Now, when the murderer bought the new clothes, he forgot to buy socks. And he thought nothing of leaving Stanley's own socks on the body, believing they couldn't be traced.
But you traced them?
No.
What do you mean, no? You told me the socks sent you to the theater where that Roger Starr company was rehearsing a Roman play.
That I did, but it wasn't the socks themselves.
It wasn't?
It was a smear of makeup I found inside the socks.
Makeup inside a pair of socks?
Yes.
Well, what would makeup be doing inside a pair of socks?
My answer to that seemed logical. If the dead man were an actor, and if he were appearing in a play that called for bare legs, like a Greek or Roman drama, he'd have makeup on his legs.
Oh. There was only one such drama in town, Roger Starr's production. You went there and found John Stanley was missing. I see now.
I'm glad. And there's something I'd like to see.
And that is?
My way clear to a solution of this case.
I refuse to believe you have no idea who killed Stanley.
I refuse to believe I can't prove my idea. And so I will.
When?
That is something only the murderer can tell you.
The murderer?
The Stanley killing was for profit, Markham. But his slayer is going to give himself away.
I'm glad you sent for me, Mr. Talbot. John always talked about you, and I wanted to meet you. And isn't it funny that now that he's dead, here I am in your office? You don't mind if I knit. I always knit.
I don't mind if you do anything, provided you stop talking.
Oh, I've got to talk. If a person has something to say, a person has to talk. Else how would anybody know what it is she has to say? I used to hear you and John talking all the time.
All right. Now, look, Lila.
Lila Martin. It's my stage name. It's lovely,
Lila,
isn't it?
listen to me.
But I am listening.
All right. You know that John and I had a business arrangement.
Of course I know. Do you always touch wood when you're talking business like that?
Yes, it's a
That's
habit.
very strange.
Say, you aren't as eccentric as you seem, are you?
Me? I don't think I'm eccentric. Other people do, but I'm not responsible for them. Why don't you keep talking, Talbot?
Well, that's better. Lila, you and that wacky act you put on are accepted in a lot of places I can't get to. You can get me a lot of information, like your friend John Stanley used to do. I pay for information. You understand?
Enough to keep listening.
That's all there is. Get me some dope on stage, people, that they won't want to see published, and I'll see that...
There you are, Talbot.
What is this?
Talbot, I'm going to kill you.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
I'm Dolores Williams. You have a story about me. I can't afford to take the ad we talked about, and I can't afford to have you print the story. So I'm going to kill you.
The woman with the gun says she's going to kill you, Mr. Talbot. I don't think she will.
Look, Miss Williams, put down that gun. Let's be reasonable.
Reasonable? There's only one kind of reason you understand, and it's this.
I knocked her arm up. Hold her, Talbot. No, you don't.
She's still got the gun.
Well, pretty good slugging with my handbag, don't you think, Talbot? I guess I rate an assist.
Yes, you certainly do. When she comes to, I'll cart her out of here. Thanks for your help.
Huh?
Lila, we ought to understand each other better. You know John Stanley was tired of you.
Of course.
I just wanted to make sure. Now, where were we?
In the middle of a business proposition.
Oh, that's right. I'm going to give you a phone number. Here's my pencil. I'll write it down.
I've got a pencil.
I want my gold pencil. Here's my gold pencil. I've got to have my pencil.
Now you're talking like me. There's a gold pencil underneath that letter.
Oh, yes, thanks. Got to have it when I write something that has to do with my business. Now, here's the phone number. Use it when you hear anything I can print.
Okay.
And tell me something. When are you faking? When you're talking normally like now? Or when you're babbling?
To tell you the truth, Talbot, I've been doing that babbling act so long, I don't know which is the real me.
Now, look here, Mr. Vance. The last time you were backstage here talking to Mr. Starr, there was trouble. Maybe you better go away.
I will, Mike, but I'm expecting a friend of mine to meet me here, Mr. Markham.
We'll meet him outside. Mr. Starr says if you got here again, I should throw you out.
Now, Mike, please.
He said get the stage hands to help me.
That, of course, is different.
What's the problem, Mike?
No problem that you can solve, my friend. Say, I remember you.
Really?
You were rehearsing a duel with Mr. Starr when I was here last.
That's right.
You were taking John Stanley's place.
So?
So, you must have known Stanley.
I still say so.
So, if you wanted his job badly enough...
What?
Wait a minute. He didn't kill John Stanley. Eddie here had a job with the company. He's always had it. He comes from Mr. Starr's hometown.
Oh, he does, eh, Mike?
Sure.
Eddie.
Yeah?
I've got some information on Mr. Starr. Some trouble he got in back home.
So?
What year was that?
That was a long time ago.
A long time ago, but not in a galaxy far, far away. June 27th, 1950. Philo Vance on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Just going to take a minute here to tell you about the big savings going on now, the clearance sale at mypillow.com. And you know, I've talked about how in my office I have a pair of my slippers, and they're really comfortable, and they're on clearance right now. The mypillow.com slippers, $25 a pair, limit 10. And I would buy 3 or 4 more pairs. Unfortunately, they're out of my size. They also have sheets, pillowcases, clothing items, all on special right now. Go to mypillow.com, click on the clearance tab at the top of the page, use my promo code Wyatt, or call 1-800-928-4715. Limited sizes remaining in the MyPillow slippers, limited colors on other items. mypillow.com, clearance tab, promo code Wyatt, 1-800-928-4715. On this last Tuesday of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, our final chat with Philo Vance, June 27th, 1950.
How did you find out?
I saw a memorandum on the desk of a man named Talbot when I went to see him. I imagine John Stanley knew about Mr. Starr's trouble.
I made the mistake of telling Stanley one night.
Oh, and...
Is that Vance's voice I hear out there, Mike?
Yes, Mr. Starr.
Get him out of here. I don't want him near the theater. Get him out.
Mr. Vance?
I'm sorry, but I'm not ready to leave yet. I have...
Joey! Frankie! Sam! Mr. Starr wants the guy thrown out.
Come on, Vance. You better move.
Reinforcements arriving, eh? Well, I still think
okay,
I'm going
fellas,
to
rush
stay
him.
here.
Hey, open the door, Frankie.
Stop that, Butch. Stop it. This isn't the subway.
Subway or no subway, this is where you get off.
Oh.
Nothing like leaving a place of your own free will, is there, Vance?
Hello, Markham. You arrived just in time to be too late. The 2 of us might have given the 5 of them a little action.
Only 5 of them? Well, let's go back in, eh?
It's a luxury I can't afford right now. Markham, I want you to have Roger Starr, owner of this company, in my apartment in an hour.
Uh-oh. It sounds like we're nearing the end of this case. I'll do it, Vance, but why?
Because he had a motive for killing John Stanley. So did a man named Talbot I'd like you to have there, too. And likewise, a girl named Lila Martin. That's her stage name.
That shouldn't be too much trouble. The showdown, Vance?
I think so, if you can get all 3 to show up.
While we're waiting for Mr. Vance to get here, I think I'll sit in the same chair I sat in when I was here before, the red one. All right with you, Mr. Starr?
Certainly, Lila.
Well, then get up. You're sitting in it. I want to knit. I always knit when I'm sitting around and have nothing else to do. I love it.
Losing your temper, Talbot.
Just my patience, Markham. What's the big idea of getting us 3 here?
I'm sure Vance
will explain everything now that he is here.
About time.
Mr. Vance, if you'll only tell me what size socks you wear, I'll
Vance,
gladly
what's
knit you a
going on
lovely
here?
pair of
I'm
socks.
sorry I kept you waiting. I had to stop at a stationery store. I have in my hand 3 pads and 3 sets of pencils.
What are we going to do, play school?
Yes, but I'm the only one who's going to learn anything.
That's so.
1 set of pencils and a pad for you, Miss Martin.
Lila Martin,
It's
my...
your stage name. 1 set of
Yes.
pencils and a pad for you, Mr. Starr.
I suppose I should say thank you.
Perhaps I'll have occasion to thank you.
Ready.
You're set, Mr. Talbot?
Just what I always wanted. A pad and 3 pencils, each of a different color. G.
What do we do with these?
Each of you take your green pencil and write the word green on the pad. Now go on, do it.
Oh, brother.
G-R...
to yourself, please.
Now what?
The next pencil is the red one. Take it and write the word red on the pad. Now do the same thing with the black pencil, writing the word black.
What's this going to prove, Vance?
You'll see, Markham. All ready?
Yes, of course.
Good. Your pad, Miss Martin.
Oh, yes, here.
Green, red, black. Yours, Mr. Talbot.
Here.
Green, red, black. Mr. Starr.
Here you are.
Thank you. Green, red, black. Take a look at these 3 slips, Markham.
I am looking. Everyone seemed to write what you told them to.
Except Mr. Starr.
What's going on here? I wrote green, red, black, didn't I?
Certainly, but you used the wrong pencil. You used the black pencil to write green and reversed the other 2 also.
Oh, that's terrible, isn't it? What's it supposed to prove?
Nothing very much. Just that you killed John Stanley.
Please, Vance.
Very well. You have a confession from Roger Starr, but you want to know how I discovered he was the killer from that red, green, and black test.
That is it exactly.
Well, let's go back to the Argyle socks, Mark.
All right.
The brown Argyle socks that were on the legs of the dead John Stanley.
I'm back to them.
I told you that the killer, in reclothing the body, had forgotten to buy socks.
Yes.
A simple error of which he thought nothing.
But he left the corpse wearing a blue outfit, suit and tie, and brown socks with black shoes. I'm beginning to understand, Vance.
You're beginning to understand correctly, too.
Good.
Roger Starr saw nothing wrong in leaving Stanley's own socks on the body because he didn't know they were brown.
Uh-huh.
He was colorblind, as my test proved.
You knew the murderer had to be colorblind, or he'd never have left so obvious a clue that the dead body had been reclothed.
Exactly. When Starr couldn't tell what color pencil he had in his hand, I knew he was colorblind. I knew his motive, of course. A desire to keep John Stanley from selling information about his past to Talbot. He didn't know Stanley had already told the blackmailing editor.
Against whom I have already prepared an indictment.
Good.
Well, it'll be the end of this blackmailing paper, believe me, Vance.
Just as this is the end of the Argyle murder case, Markham.
73 years ago, June 27, 1950, Philo Vance on this Tuesday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. On our final Tuesday, we go back 88 years, June 27, 1935. Thanks to Ted at RadioMemories.com for this episode of Lum and Abner.
Howdy, everybody. Here we are, all ready to take you down to Pine Ridge for another visit with Lum and Abner. Brought to you by the makers of Horlicks, the original malted milk. Let's stop for a minute and take stock of ourselves. How do you feel this evening? Full of energy? Or tired and drowsy? If you're feeling all in, don't blame it all on your work. Think back. How well did you sleep last night? Not so good? Well, that might be your trouble right there. You're not getting the sleep you need. I suggest you'd better follow this plan. Drink a glass full of Horlicks tonight, just before going to bed. Don't eat a thing. The Horlicks will satisfy you. In addition, it will relax and refresh you, help you to get to sleep easily and naturally. You'll sleep more soundly, too. Horlicks digests quickly and thoroughly, and doesn't interfere with your rest as heavy food often does. Give this plan a trial, and see if you don't feel better tomorrow. You can get a package of Horlicks, you know, from your druggist in either natural or chocolate flavor. And now, let's see what's happening down in Pine Ridge. For the past few days, Lum and Abner have been very much concerned over the accident Squire Skimp had while attending their picture show, the Pine Ridge Planetarium. However, they learned yesterday that Squire recovered sufficiently to make a business trip into the county seat, so evidently his injuries are not as serious as was first thought. As we look in on our old friends today, we find a very heated game of checkers in progress at the Jot 'em Down store. Listen.
All right, let's see now. I believe I'll move right there. No, wait a minute now. I never take my finger off of it. I never done it. Doggy, I like to run it myself in. Had to give you 3 men there if I'd have moved. Yes, sir, you'd have sure got a king out of there. And let me see here now. If I move right there, then you'd have to... No, oh, no, you don't. No, you don't. I just seen that in time, too. Yes, sir. Yeah, you just might not got me blocked here. Let's see. Ought to be some way here for... Why, yes, sure. What's the matter with me? Had to jump all the time and never
What do
even
you
seen
think
it.
you're doing?
Huh?
What are you doing sitting here talking to yourself about? I stood there and watched you for 3 minutes.
I just playing you a game of checkers, Lum. You weren't here, so I was playing for both of us.
Well, I just put that checkerboard up. I told you I didn't want you playing checkers by yourself that way. Somebody come in here and hear you talking to yourself that way, they'll think you've lost your reasoning.
Well, there weren't nobody here to play with.
Well, why don't you straighten up the store? Look at that counter over there. All that ginghams and percals still scattered out there where you're showing Sister Simpson them dress patterns right early this morning. Why don't you roll them bolts up and put them back in the shelves?
Yeah, and then have to drag them all down again.
Drag them down again?
Yeah, she'd taken a bunch of samples and said she'd make up her mind which piece she wanted and then come back the first of next week. I just made up my mind I'd learn her a lesson. Just leave the whole works laying right where it's at.
You're going to learn her a lesson by leaving all the bolt goods we got in the store there on the counter for a week, huh?
Yes, sir. Just learn her not to make a feller pull down every bolt of goods in the house. I'm just like Levi Whitten. When folks does something that you don't like, why, learn 'em a lesson.
Levi Whitten. I don't know which one's the worst, him or you, or both of you.
Now, Levi's got a whole lot more sense than lots of folks give him credits for having.
Well, maybe you ain't much alike then.
Yeah. I know one thing, he sure got even with that bus line that runs through here for running over one of his holes. Taken him 6 months to study out a way to do it, but he sure got even with them.
Yeah, I thought Levi was over in Oklahoma visiting.
He is. That's the way he's getting even with them. When he left here, he bought a round-trip ticket on that bus line, and he ain't coming back on the bus.
Ain't coming back on the bus?
No, sir. He's going to walk every step of the way back just for spite.
Yeah, Levi's always getting even with somebody to hear his tell of it.
Well, he does, too. I don't know how he studied up them things.
Well, now, don't you start patterning yourself after Levi. One of him in a town this size is enough. Too many, facts is.
Well, I just wished I knowed as much about government and how it ought to be run as he does. There's a feller that's made a study of government problems.
Now, you better find out how the store ought to be run. What you better be learning. Come on, let's get this stuff put back in the shelf.
Hey, well, wait a minute. There comes Cedric now, Lum. We can just get him to do it.
Oh, yeah. Where's he been?
Oh, he's taking a little batch of groceries over there to Sea Strunks.
Are there any more orders to deliver now?
No, that's everything, I reckon.
I seen Mr. Squire out walking just now.
Well, whereabouts was he at, Cedric?
He was down there by Mose Mooch's barber shop just a while ago.
Well?
Yeah, I seen him a few minutes ago myself.
Well, I never knowed he was up and around.
Yeah, he went to the county seat yesterday, you know that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did,
Cedric, straighten up all that bolt goods that's laying on the counter there and put it back up in the shelf nice.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks. I was hoping there weren't nothing for me to do so as I could lay down back there in the feed room and sleep for a little while.
Sleep?
Why don't you do your sleeping at night?
Well, I generally always do, but last night I didn't. It's got to where every night when I go home from the picture show, I've got to pound on the door there for an hour before my folks gets up to let me in, so last night I just made up my mind I was just going to knock just one time. And they didn't come to the door to let me in, so I just stood there on the porch all night long.
Well, what in the world did you do that for, Cedric?
Well, I was getting tired of them making me wait every night, so I decided just to let them wait once and see how they liked it.
Well, I don't blame you neither, Cedric. Man tired out from a day's work, why, he's got to get some sleep.
Yeah, you got even with your folks about like Levi Whitten does, Cedric.
Yes, Mom, I reckon so.
Well, now, get that bolt good straightened up right now, Cedric, and you'll have plenty of time to get some sleep before the show starts tonight.
Yeah, we don't want you going to sleep running them pictures.
No, Mom, I won't.
I just can't wait to see that picture we got for tonight.
Yeah, that ought to be a good one, all right. Or to have a big crowd out.
Oh, yeah. Well, the place has been packed every night since Squire's place has been closed.
Yeah, we sort of got things to ourselves now.
Yeah. Did you talk to the squire a while ago when you seen him, Lum?
No, I started to, but he acted awful strange.
Strange?
Yeah. You know, Abner, I don't like to talk it, but I wouldn't be surprised if that lick he got on his head never affected his memories.
Well?
I walked right up to him to speak to him, and he just turned and walked off like he never even saw me.
Well, I do know. Well, of course, now, Lum, it might be he just worried over that trouble he got himself into.
What trouble?
Well, I don't know what it is, but, you know, he went into the county seat yesterday afternoon to see a lawyer, so it must be something serious.
Yeah, that's right. I'd forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
That's just about what the trouble is.
Yeah.
It's bound to be something terribly important for him to get up out of a sick bed to go see a lawyer about.
Yeah, I feel awful sorrowful for him. Special on him not plumb over that accident that he had in our picture show the other night.
Yeah.
Just looks like, the more trouble the feller had, why, the more he gets.
Yeah, them as has gets.
Yeah.
That's an old lettered saying.
Yes.
I wish there's some way we could help him.
Yeah.
If he's got to hire a lawyer, I might could save him that expense myself. Just handle a case for him myself. Not charge him nothing for it.
Well, now, that'd be a nice thing to do, Lum. That'd show him how sorrowful we are about him hurting himself in our picture show the other night.
Yes, sir. I'm minds to call him up right now and see if there's any way we can help him in this court trial or whatever it is.
Yeah, why don't you do that, Lum? Sure.
Let's see. His ring is a long and too short, ain't it?
Yeah, that's it. Long and too short, yeah.
This'll show him that we want to be friends with him.
Uh-huh.
You know, I believe Squire's reformed himself now. Wait a minute. Hello? Squire? This is Lum Eddard talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why, Squire, me and Abner heard you was into the county seat yesterday to see a lawyer, so we figured you must be aiming on having some sort of a case in court, and I just want to tell you that I'd be glad to donate my service, give you all the legal advice I can, and not charge you a cent for it.
No, free.
Huh? Well, I didn't mean to be butting into your business, but I just figured... Well, all right. I'm sorrowful you feel that way about it. Hello? Hello? Well.
What's the matter, Lum? What'd he say?
Why, he acted like he sort of made him mad. Said for us to tend our own business. Said when he needed any legal advice from me, why, he'd call on me first.
Well, I do know. Reckon he will?
I don't know. I don't much think so. The way he slammed up the receiver there in my ear.
No. Well, I don't know, though, Lum. I guess...
Well, howdy, Dick.
Huh?
I never seen you coming in there.
Hello, Dick.
Come on in. Come in.
Yeah, I got a registered letter for you fellas, and I thought I'd better bring it over. It might be something important.
Got, what kind of a letter, Dick?
A registered letter, Lum. You'll have to sign for it to show that you received it. I brought the book along. You can sign it there. Right there.
Oh, yeah, sure. I've saw them things before.
Well, I reckon who that could be from.
Well, it's more likely from Evelina. I ain't heard from her since she went home.
Yeah, that's more like who it's from.
Well, no, it's postmarked Mina. Addressed to you and Abner both.
I reckon what she's writing both of us for.
Well, it must not be from her, Abner, if it's from Mina.
Oh.
It's wrote with a typewriter anyway, see there?
Well, open it up. Don't stand there and look at it all day.
Just looking at all them stamps on there. Hey, Granny, that must have cost something to send that thing.
Yeah, it must be some valuable paper of some kind, Lum.
Valuable paper?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, good. I reckon who could be sending us some valuables that way? Says up here, return to box 276 in 5 days.
Well, let's see. Today's Thursday. We'll have to have that back in there by next Tuesday, won't we? I wish they hadn't sent it if we can't keep it.
Well, I do know. Clark, and Clark. Attorneys at law.
Oh, yeah, that's that law firm in there at the county seat.
Well, wanting some legal advice from me, I reckon. Lum Eddard and Abner Peabody, owners and operators of the Pine Ridge Planetarium. Pine Ridge. Gentlemen.
Well, that's nice of them to say that.
Acting on the instructions of our client, M.K. Skimp, of your city, we are entering suit in Chancery Court against your partnership in the sum of $1,000 for injuries and anguish our client has suffered as a result of an accident sustained in your theater, the Pine Ridge Planet.
Well, this more than explains Squire's urgent trip to the county seat yesterday. First, here's a special message to all mothers who are unable to nurse their babies. You will find that Horlicks malted milk is unsurpassed as a food for bottle-fed infants. Horlicks is made from only full cream milk, pasteurized to ensure purity, and modified with the nutritive extract of the choicest malted grains. This modification, by Horlick's special process, acts upon the milk in such a way as to make it extremely digestible. Hence, Horlicks can be more easily, more safely handled by the tiny stomach than can ordinary cow's milk and many other infant foods. That is why Horlicks is so widely recommended by the medical profession as a food for infants. Try Horlicks for your child and start him off on the road to health. You can get a package of Horlicks from your druggist. This is Carlton Brickert, speaking for Lum and Abner and Horlicks, who now bid you all good night and good health.
There you have it. From 88 years ago, June 27th, 1935, Lum and Abner here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our friend Ted over at RadioMemories.com. He supplies shows on cassette, CD, or flash drive for your computer, including fully restored episodes of Lum and Abner. That's at RadioMemories.com. And I thank you for making us a part of your day. Do not blame this radio station that we're going away. I want to make that real clear. I'm retiring. My health, I cannot work 90-hour weeks anymore, so I have to step aside. But I want to thank you for all the time that you have listened here on your favorite radio station. Thank them, support their advertisers, and most importantly, thank you for listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite radio station.